What is up, everybody? I am the chairman of the USDN, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. Tonight, I have three special guests coming on to join us, all from the DFPN family. Let me introduce them to you. I have first up, hailing from the Queens of Nerdom, Jen.
Hello. Welcome.
Next up, I don't know where he's from, but he's here.
He's our blast from the past.
And he's our blast from the past.
Parts
we have
unknown.
Chris. And last, certainly not least, he is my brother from another mother. I love this man with all my heart and soul. I present my main man, Black.
My whole room just went green. I have no idea why. So, hi.
That better mean we're coming into some money. Are we coming into money? Is that a sign? Jesus? Is this a sign?
I hope so.
Yeah, you and me both.
Welcome everyone. This is going to be our last, don't cry, show for our spooky season. I've had so much fun doing this with everyone. It has been a blast. You know, my little dark heart has been so happy talking about all these horror movies and everything, and I can't wait to do it again next year. That being said, hey Chris.
Yes.
What monster likes to dance at a party?
Which monster likes to dance at a party?
A boogeyman.
As a dad, I'm offended by some of these. I'm gonna be honest.
Hey Black.
I got nothing on that.
Hey Black. Why do ghosts hate rainy? Why do ghosts hate rainy Halloweens?
Oh, why?
It dampens their spirits.
Oh my gosh.
All right,
bro.
All
right, yeah.
Okay. Wait. Okay. Jeff.
Jen.
Why don't mummies gossip?
Why?
Because they don't want to get a bad rap.
You're fired. Holy shit.
Oh, that's awesome.
Welcome back. We missed you. I'm glad nobody left because of the dad jokes.
You literally ran everybody off. I
had more,
It's
but
okay.
I just stopped.
Come back.
It's okay. It's fine.
They'll come back. They'll come back.
I have one. I'll save it for the end of the show, though.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. You're like, yeah. Okay. All right. So, what is the Boogeyman? Well, little did you know, I didn't know, there's actually no clear and specific description, only that it's thought of as either masculine or an androgynous thing. But even that, it varies from different cultures. It is probably the only creature of its kind that spans the entire world. Now, usually they fall into three categories. The first category being it punishes children who misbehave. The second category is a boogeyman that is violent and malicious against anyone unfortunate enough to cross their path. And the third one is a boogeyman that protects. I don't know what that is, but anyways. But in my mind, a boogeyman is the personification of one's fears, a terror incarnate, and the embodiment of all things evil. So scary. So scary.
Makes sense. The Protect is a new one. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
I don't think I have either. There's only one that kind of comes to mind. I could be way off what I think. But anyways, we can roll into the movies if you guys want.
Yeah, shoot.
The one movie where I think it might sort of kind of protect, or it might actually just be a projection is has anybody seen, hey, there's Willie, the Babadook?
Yes.
Yep.
That was actually one of the ones I wrote down for famous boogeyman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I made a list.
You made a list?
I did.
So it came out in 2014. I believe it is from Australia originally. This movie was kind of weird. Now, first of all, I wanted to strangle this child very lovingly, like with hugs, of course. I would never want to have...
With your hands around his throat. Got it. Yeah.
Yes, very, very nice big squeeze. But as you kind of go along through the movie, I kind of feel like this is like the projection of this woman's grief, like losing her husband. And I think one of the lessons, I think the director, if I remember correctly, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is that you can't ignore your trauma. You can't ignore your grief. You can't ignore those emotions. You can't ignore them because they will come back and punch you in the face. Even after I feel like she acknowledged this, she kept it in the basement, but she fed it. She acknowledged it, and it was still there. Jeff, Babadook. What you think?
Great movie, and it really explores the human emotion side of it, because this was a projection of her pent in emotion to me. So I liked it. I mean, it was a typical spin on the Boogeyman story, but it was enjoyable, and it was from Australia, so I like that kind of stuff. I like funny accents like mine. I went full Alabama in there.
I like the way you talk.
You sure do got pretty mild.
Oh, that was Georgia.
Darn it.
You went dark. It was dark. Chris.
And it's spooky season, so yeah, I'm going a little dark, okay?
That was pretty dark.
No, I thought it was good. It came out at the right time too. I think that hit us around the same time as all of the quote unquote folk horror, right? Midsummer, Hereditary, a lot of the real kind of artsy films.
That's a good one though, Hereditary.
Yeah, great movies. It was an offshoot, right? It's like that weird, like getting in the mouth of madness in the middle of the slasher craze. It's like, who would have thought that this would work? Yeah, I'm with you. Well, kind of with you maybe. I hated the little boy. I think most kids in horror movies are obnoxious as hell, because if they're teenagers, they're snarky, and if they're little, they're stupid and don't listen. Which is why we end up with things like werewolves and vampires and crap. But no, I think, talking about it from the emotional standpoint, anything that deals with grief in a way that's entertaining is solid. I think do far better than most. I think the only other one that may even come close to touching it, and it's not even really a horror movie, would be Dolores Claiborne. I loved it. I thought it was solid. I actually watched it a couple weeks ago while I was going through Shudder, because that's where I spend all of my time now.
We noticed.
Yeah, it's a problem.
It's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah. It is.
Fuck. Thoughts on the Babadook?
I try to keep my comments not quite in the same lane, but the depression and the bottling in of trying to be perfect, trying to make sure like everything's well kept and together, and the pressure of that just breaking someone is something like it's very real. You can feel that on any spectrum, right? And the ability to draw that emotion and make that tie in and make it feel as real as it is, because the kid's a little shit, but you know what I mean? Like the parenting part of it is like, I want this to be good. I want this to be wholesome, and just wanting that is pretty much what drove the insanity out. So very, very solid movie. Very solid movie.
And I like what you said. Like that I don't know her name, but that woman that played the mom, like you could, like it was palpable. Like you could feel it. Like you could feel like her, like just grief and everything that she was going through. Like, I'm glad you pointed that out. And it was very dark, and I love that.
That was a female directed film too, if I remember correctly, which is probably why they were able to touch on that as well as they were.
I didn't know that.
Jennifer Kent, writer and director. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Cool. That's dope. I always like to see that.
Yeah, that's dope. That's really dope.
Another one, if you don't agree with me that it's more like a boogeyman, we don't have to talk about it, because what I feel like is a boogeyman might be different than what other people think.
Hey, but that's the great part about the boogeyman. There's so many definitions and so many different things out there that kind of fall into this category. It doesn't, like, everybody's boogeyman is different.
It's very broad. I agree. So the movie It Follows, 2014. I think her name is Maika Monroe. I adore this girl. Like she's just, or young lady. She's just amazing. I guess that would be more like a sexual boogeyman, I guess you could say. The creepy thing is, and I've watched this movie several times, there's a lot of people that are like, this movie sucks, and I was like, really? I really liked it. Just the fact that, you bumped uglies with somebody, and now there's like this supernatural creature like coming for you, and you're the only one that can see it, and then it will actually look like people you know and you care about and you love, and it's coming for you. And
that's literally one of the definitions of a boogeyman, is that it punishes you based on different things, right? Like naughty children. This one just so happens to be a sex demon, I guess.
Yeah, and the one of the reasons why I do like this movie is that you actually get to see what happens when it catches someone, because I think her character ends up bumping uglies with one of the neighbors, friends, whatever. Yeah, poor guy didn't take her seriously, and he got caught, and that's gross. I was like, ooh. But anyhow, before I see too much, Black, you want to go first this time? What do you think about It Follows?
I've never seen this movie, but this sounds like something I need to watch.
It's
especially if somebody's bumping uglies and terrible shit happens as a result. Maybe you'll think about this next
time. Chris, did you watch it?
I did. I like this one. Yeah, because this is one of those that hits everybody a little different, right? You got some folks that say that it's an allegory for STDs. You got other folks talking about the fact that it could be, just sexual trauma.
Right.
And then you've got, you could go down the pro-life, pro-choice rabbit hole with this one as well, which has been done numerous times.
Right.
But not a big fan of sticking on that one for too long. But overall, smart horror film. It's got one of the best openings, I think, that I've seen to a horror film in probably the last decade, maybe longer. Because you don't know what the hell's going on. A girl runs out of the house.
Yeah.
That's it. Stands in the street, looks crazy, and then it kicks off from there. So it catches your interest right off the bat and holds it the entire time. It's good. It's definitely in probably my top 20 of the last decade to two.
It's great. To the watch list.
Yeah, add it to the list.
Under Wolf Cop, Black. Wolf Cop, then
Jeff, what'd you think?
I haven't seen this movie in so long, so it's vaguely in my skull. But yeah, I'm agreeing with Chris on this one. That opening sequence with her just running out the house like a crazed woman that was like, all right, we're onto something here. Let's see what it is.
Yeah.
And it was a good movie. I do remember. I enjoyed it. Recommend it. But as far as like, can I remember like the basics? I wish. I watch a lot of movies.
Same.
I think it never shows you what it looks like either.
It just appeared as like
as someone
person.
It appeared as one of your own memories, which was just no other movie had done that, I don't think.
Well, but he appears as something that scares the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Which is also on
unfortunately,
the
we
list.
get to see what he actually looks like, though.
Oh God, yeah.
It didn't work out well for either version of that movie, but
yeah.
Well, speaking of it,
he's on the list.
Let's talk about it. He's on the list.
He's on the list.
So,
Pennywise, the dancing clown.
God. So I remember watching the original one, and I really enjoyed that first one. The remake, however, that was nightmare fuel. With the updated effects and everything, I was just like,
Bill Skarsgård did a lot of Pennywise's facials himself. Like the way he manipulates his eyes and mouth and stuff. That's all Bill Skarsgård. And it is scary as shit.
Yeah. Like he's so animated. And I remember watching other shows with him where, you know, he can kind of like unconsciously like let one of his eyes drift, which added that suspense. Whereas I think when Tim Curry played Pennywise, I think they had to like CG it, but
they did contacts.
Yep.
It was before the original. It was before we had CGI, so everything in it was a practical effects in the original, I believe.
And it was like, man, like the newer effects, I feel like were just absolutely terrifying. I mean, I think the one that really terrified me, or one of the two, was with the little girl under the bleachers.
Yes.
Like right before that was terrifying. And then Willie McCoy says that scene he's doing that dance in the sewer in the
hell yeah.
Nightmare fuel. I was just like, oh.
Dude, without a doubt.
Yeah. And when they're grown and they're fighting him, and like the part 2, man.
Here's one though. By default, does this now essentially make Mary Poppins a boogeyman as well? Because they're from the same universe.
That's the protector. There you go.
Why would you do this to me?
She could be scary as shit though too.
She could be.
She pulled a lot of shit out of that bag.
Surrounded by happy feet. Like that would terrify me.
It's a well-known fact that they are from the same universe and of the same species.
There was like a theory going around. I remember reading that.
And I don't think that was King ever refuted it either.
He didn't.
Exactly. He was just like, that's good.
He's like, Mary Poppins, shit, I'll roll with that.
I don't like this. This changes.
Yeah, Mary Poppins is now part of the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
They missed out with that movie.
That's a hell of a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So Black, what are your thoughts on it?
Back to it.
Old or new? Which one? Or both?
You know what? I was gonna say the first It was probably one of the scariest movies I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Just because like as a kid, like going back to the 80s and looking at it at real time in the 80s, that shit was scary.
Yeah.
Like super scary. Until you get to the new one. The new one makes the old one. I went back and watched the old one after watching the new one. I was like, this is dumb.
You're like,
whoa, that's Tim Curry you're talking about, buddy.
I know, but
you put some respect on that.
The new one was done so well with the effects, and even the drainage scene is just like, dude. Like this
that
kid,
4K changes the game.
Yeah, it changes everything, bro. Like it changed. Yeah, that I stopped looking for Ninja Turtles. Exactly. And we used to do that. We used to build like the little boats and stuff and try to race them. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Like hell no.
Hell
no. But I absolutely agree. Pennywise is one of the most scary characters. Not just a boogeyman, but as a character. He's one of the most terrifying things ever created.
Yeah.
Ever. So
I agree.
Without a doubt.
Yep. And he was a background figure. That's the crazy thing.
Yes.
Right? People want to look at Pennywise like he's the main star of that show, and he's not. The kids are.
Yeah.
He just happens to be there causing trouble. But I mean, for me, like I remember my brother, my older brother Scott, made me sit down and watch it, the original one in 1990 when it was on the first time. And I had nightmares about clowns for the next probably
20 years.
3 weeks.
Oh no!
Every time I would walk by him, all I'd hear is "Kiss me, fat boy." I'm like, "Come on, man! Like, just don't do that. Just leave me alone."
It really did. It did bring the spirit of clowns to the main stage.
Yeah. But great movie. I like both of them. I think It Chapter 1, the Andy Muschietti version, is far better than the kids' portions of the old 1990 miniseries. But on the adult side of it, between Chapter 2 and the original, I think I prefer the original. Like, it's just the tail end of this new one with the little puddle of goo that they're not scared of anymore. It's just a little too much for me. A little soft.
I will say with us now talking about it, it's a good time to mention that Welcome to Derry is coming to Max, which is going to be kind of like an origin-ish story of how Pennywise became Pennywise.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to know, honestly.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they play that out.
I do too.
Because King spells it out pretty well.
He does.
The book, in the Dark Tower, but
they're taking that and they're going to put it into a TV series. And Bill Skarsgård's returning to do Pennywise, and
good.
That might.
Glad he took ownership of that character. You know.
Yeah.
I'd say Tim Curry could do it, but I don't think he has the stroke anymore.
No.
Let's Skarsgård
him. Dude.
He got it.
That's fucked up, dude.
Just like, come on, man.
Tim Curry's an icon, man. Let's not do him that way.
Yeah,
I love that dude. And his role of the devil, come on, bro.
Oh, in Legend?
Yeah.
Darkness.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Darkness.
Yep.
Yes. So I was talking to Chris today via Messenger, and I was telling him about actual movies called Boogeyman. And I found that
on the list
there was like 4 or something different Boogeymen, and the one I was trying to focus
there's like maybe 8 of them now.
Yeah. Well, the one I wanted to kind of focus on, if you will, was the one that came out in 2023. It had our very own Vivian Lyra Blair, who played Leia, our little Leia. So this one, and the other, Chris Messina, if you ever watched The Devil, where they're all like jam-packed in an elevator and they keep getting attacked, he's like one of the detectives on there. I love that movie. And then Sophie Thatcher, I think she was on Yellow Jackets or something. I haven't watched
Yellow
that,
Jackets.
Solid show.
Really is better than it should have been.
I haven't watched that. I need to watch that. But so this came out in 2023. This movie was like, it gave me a lot of jump scares. I thought it was great. I really like the relationship between the sisters. Really sad, mom passing away, but the older sister really seemed to kind of have this like wise beyond her years kind of thing going on. And after she starts experiencing things, she stops dismissing her sister, and she gets it. And I mean, to the little girl's credit, I mean, she's smart.
Of course, she's Princess Leia.
Absolutely. Again, don't want to ruin too much of the movie. So, Jeff, the Boogeyman 2023, Princess Leia.
I prefer the 1980 version. Or the 2005 version. I thought was okay. I haven't seen the 2023 version, to be fair.
Okay.
But the 1980, not the spinoff, not the part 2 and the part 3 of that. No, let's not go there. Just the original 1980 version was fantastic. I shouldn't have never watched that one as a child either, but I did. And I didn't get a lot of sleep as a child because I watched a lot of horror movies that I shouldn't have watched.
Didn't we all? That's why we're here.
This is true. This is true. But I'm more than made up for my sleep. But yeah, it's I need to watch it. That's on me. I need to watch that one. But I do really like the old 80s one.
Those monsters. Chris, those monsters.
Another Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah. I know, right?
It's a short story from Stephen King. It's not an actual book. It's a short story.
Yep.
He's amazing.
Yep. I want to say it was in Nightmares and Dreamscapes.
It was.
Solid book. The movie falls into the same trap. Well, all Stephen King adaptations kind of fall in the same trap, right? Yeah. It's either an amazing movie and a horrible adaptation, or it's a great adaptation and a horrible movie, right? The Shining is the perfect example of that. Right? Kubrick's Shining, amazing movie.
Beautiful movie.
Horrible adaptation. Stephen King's Wings version of it from the late 90s, early 2000s, great adaptation, horrible movie.
Storm of the Century, great book, terrible show.
Yeah.
Yes.
This one I think falls into the former camp. I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was a horrible adaptation. The short story is very much a focus on how someone's mind adjusts following extreme trauma. And I don't think the movie touched on that quite as much as it could have. That being said, as a creature feature, as a monster movie, I had a blast with it. Like, if you can separate those two things, separate the Boogeyman from Stephen King and the short story and everything, solid hour-and-a-half experience. I thought the acting was good. The direction was on point. I mean, the lighting in that movie is outstanding. The little girl's rolling the moon, the plastic moon down the hallway. So the light travels with it until you finally see what it's into. Like, great shots, great ideas. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I actually watched it again today just to prep for this. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
So do you think that so I think they touched on it in the movie that part of the reason why it attaches from family to family is because of the trauma and the grief and everything. Do you think it didn't touch on that enough?
I think it touched on it in a way that was less impactful than the short story.
Yeah.
So, and the reason I say that, I'm trying to think of a way to do it without spoiling it too much, right? So the grief is personified in a much more visceral way in the short story, as opposed to the movie. In the movie, it's external, right? It's still impactful, but the grief is external.
Gotcha.
In the short story, it is very apparent that the grief is theirs, as opposed to, David Dalmatian, who is amazing in everything I've ever seen him in.
Yes.
He's the guy that introduces it to the family in this one.
Okay.
The book is not like that at all.
Okay.
So highly recommend the short story.
Yes.
Black.
The whole book is really good, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Black, what do you think about Chris kind of talked about some visceral things. What do you think about how you started seeing like this black fungus, this veiny fungus start growing like all over the house? Do you think that was kind of like a good depiction of like their infection, kind of?
I don't want to say it wasn't. But it could have been more effective. It definitely could have been more effective. And to go back to what Chris said, there was a trade-off for me. Because I don't know how to say his name. I just call him the creepy guy from Batman. That's how I know. That's how I was introduced. But he's the therapist in this movie. But I was like, when I saw him, but I saw his role and I knew the book, I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. But it was a trade-off for me because the fact that he was dealing with his own trauma and not knowing how to manage it, I thought was a very good way to inject their grief and how they're not able to handle their grief in this movie.
Right.
So that was a trade-off. I knew it wasn't supposed to happen that way, but the fact that he added on to it and he's supposed to be like the person helping them through it.
Right.
I took from that was like, okay, that's interesting. I'll deal with it. And how it manifested itself. I dealt with it.
You may have just made me like that movie more.
Yeah.
Because I didn't look at it from that perspective, right? I thought the dad being a therapist was just another cliched way to make him more tormented. I didn't think about the impact on the family and the fact that explains the whole, well, when are you going to come in and talk to us? When are you going to join the session with the kids? Yeah. All right. Yeah.
And
yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. The next one, hopefully it's on Jeff's list. Nightmare on Elm Street. Round of applause.
Classic.
That one will never leave my list.
Never. Freddy lives.
What?
Freddy lives.
And Freddy is actually on the list.
That's in every genre, by the way, as well. It's a romantic comedy. He's Nancy's boyfriend. They make out over the phone.
Okay.
Like, it's just, you remember that scene? I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
Yeah, I do. Okay.
That's one way to look at it.
I call it like I see it.
All right.
So Nightmare on Elm Street, Wes Craven, 1984. So you have Heather Langenkamp playing Nancy, our very own Johnny Depp playing Glenn, and Robert Englund playing Freddy Krueger. So this is the first time we ever get to see Johnny Depp. Yay! Poor guy died in such a terrible way. My gosh, he just basically got liquefied.
Is that the movie where somebody shit on his pillow? Or was that a different one?
That was different one. That was more recent.
All right, my bad.
Yeah. I think that was 2 Nights in Paris. Was it that one?
No,
that sounds. I don't know. I get my Johnny Depp movies confused. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
It's called Run Jack.
Did he cut his finger on that one with like a vodka bottle? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm done.
So like Eric Johnson said, Freddy is the most twisted of boogeyman. I mean, I can't imagine not being able to sleep because that is when the boogeyman is going to get you, and he knows your worst nightmares and your worst fears. I don't think he quite touches on that as much as the first one, but as I feel like as the movies go on, they touch on that more. Like you start seeing that. I think in the third one is the Dream Warriors.
The Dream Warriors.
He starts, he starts kind of manifesting their nightmares. Before, but I like the dark tone of the first one. He gets a little comical.
He was always intended to be that way, though.
Not according to Wes Craven.
Not slapstick.
Not slapstick, no, but he was meant to have a not so serious attitude when he, murked them. Right.
But jumping around a little bit, I did like the Dream Warriors one. I thought that was the one where she turns into a cockroach. We're not going to talk about that.
Dude, that scene is devastating. That scene alone was nightmares.
Fucking horrifying. You guys don't know how much I hate cockroaches. I mean, she turns to. I need a minute.
They're only scary to me when they fly. When they fly,
don't fucking. I hate them.
We live in the South, dude. We live in the South. Them motherfuckers fly down here.
We don't even call those cockroaches. Those are palmetto bugs. And you don't mess with those.
Nope. Yeah, let's get fancy with the terms there, Chris. A fucking roach is a roach.
So I wanted to kind of expand on Wes Craven's New Nightmare, but before I get to that, I kind of want to get y'all's thoughts about the Nightmare on Elm Street. If there's anyone leading up to Wes Craven's New Nightmare that you guys wanted to talk about, Jeff, do you want to go first?
I have news.
Oh,
on Freddy Krueger. He is getting a prequel starring
new one.
Kevin Spacey by chance? Oh, sorry.
No, it's gonna be. God damn, what's that kid's name?
Oh, what you did there? Shut up! I can't stand you.
Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
That got me.
What that skinny kid's name from what was it, the New Kid or whatever, where he goes to like the prison to visit, and then they make him a new person.
Oh, where they dress him up like Hannibal and wheel him into high school?
Yes, that
damn,
kid.
He was on Supernatural.
Yes, he played. He had a few episodes. You know what? I gotta Google because this is gonna drive me batshit if I don't do this.
That's what
I do apologize.
Skinny kid.
Who? I don't know what y'all was talking about. What?
Me neither.
Skinny kid. You guys gotta
will
give
make
me
sense
more
here in a
info.
moment. It'll make sense.
The skinny kid. Are you talking about their brother?
No.
You're talking about skinny kid on Supernatural. That's not a lot to go on.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of a. Yeah.
Not the skinny kids on Supernatural.
It's broad.
Oh, and there's no pictures when you look at the entire cast. That's not helpful.
Yeah.
Broad spectrum.
Hold on, you keep going, Jeff. I'll look it up for you.
But basically, they're gonna do the events leading up to how Freddy Krueger becomes Freddy Krueger. If that makes sense.
Alexander Calvert?
No.
Okay.
So basically, DJ Qualls. Thank you. The little really skinny kid from he also had the scene with the lady on the bus.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. With the big old leopard skin panties. I can't remember the name of that movie either. But anyways, he's gonna become he's becoming the new Freddy Krueger. He's gonna be the one going forward, I think. I know Robert Englund wanted Kevin Bacon to pick up the mantle of Freddy Krueger. But it looks like it's gonna be That
would have been perfect.
Dude, Kevin Bacon would have been fucking amazing. That's why Robert Englund asked him personally to pick up the mantle of Freddy Krueger.
He wouldn't be able to make that many, though. He's getting up there. No offense, Kevin. I think you're amazing. I love you, but
Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund's get almost 80, if not 80.
Yeah. He was in his mid-50s when they started, I think.
Yeah.
No, the 80s were farther back. I'm gonna stop. You go ahead. That makes me feel old.
But basically, it's going to be the events that led up to him being burned by the parents of Elm Street or whatever.
Okay.
Where they chased him into and then burned him alive, and him cursing him. It's going to be everything that happened before that.
I hope they take it from the stance of the original series and not the remake.
They're doing it from the original, is my understanding.
The remake.
Good.
Remake was good.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think DJ Qualls could be a good fit for this because he's going to fit that age of when Freddy Krueger was doing his thing before he became, burned. So I think it could work. And DJ Qualls is that size too of where you would think Freddy Krueger would be.
Yeah.
Kind of a smaller. Yeah. It could work. Just saying.
Chris, you got anything else on Freddy Krueger movies?
So I love them, pretty much all of them. That's my my guilty pleasure.
Freddy versus Jason. You love that.
I do. I like that one.
Actually, I do too.
I like that one. I'm a big fan.
The way Kelly Rowland got murked in that movie.
Anything that has Jason swinging teenagers,
Kelly Rowland
bags in the trees is
no slander. I just appreciate the way she dies. She went out like a boss lady. Okay.
But yeah, I like all of them. I think the third one is by far my favorite. Dream Warriors is by far my favorite.
Yeah, same.
But I'm also kind of torn on it because I think that's where where slapstick Freddy started.
Yeah.
I mean, Welcome to Primetime, bitch, kind of kicked off a generation of.
That scene alone was.
Yeah, it was great. You want to get high with the needle fingers, like it led to poor things. But I think as a movie itself, it was pretty entertaining. And if I go back to Nightmare on Elm Street at all, I tend to watch 1, 3, and New Nightmare. I think those are the top 3 of that series.
I went with like every other two. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, even if you count New Nightmare as what it actually is, which it's not a Freddy Krueger movie, but we'll talk about that in a little bit, I think. But yeah, I mean, Freddy's iconic. There has never been a slasher, I think, to rival him from a full rounded character standpoint, with the exception of maybe Chucky. Just because Chucky has that kind of humor as well. Jason's not funny.
I mean,
Michael Myers ain't funny.
Yeah.
Art the Clown's funny, but there's recency bias there, so he's not in the conversation yet. I don't think.
Art the Clown?
Yeah.
He's on the list. I had to do that.
But yeah, I mean, I love the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. If Wes Craven if they had let Wes Craven take control of that entire franchise.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing would be able to touch it.
And Eric Johnson says 2 is horrible. I agree. I wasn't a fan of 2.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody liked 2.
No.
I'm your god now. No, you're not. You're
no.
a weirdo with knives on your hand.
Black, what was your take?
Potential though.
Did it
had potential. It did. Because if you'd have played this in a different way, to where he moves into the house. I forget the guy's name. He moves into the house. He starts having the nightmares. It's just the execution was terrible. Like it was terrible execution. The plot was okay. The execution was horrible.
That's fair. I just hate the main character in that movie.
Yeah, you're right.
He drives me nuts.
Awful. But
to be desired.
There was structure. There was structure there. They didn't follow it. And I feel like if they would have followed the game plan, it felt like this was a sequel that they wanted to get all of their ideas out on, and none of them worked.
None. No. I think for these movies, though, once a plot point or like what's the word I'm looking for here? Like a standard is set for a movie when it comes to slasher films. Like you don't just start changing that character's like modus operandi or whatever it's called. You know, you just don't start fucking with that shit. They got their thing that works, but when you start branching out of that, stop it.
Yeah, that's fair.
No.
Yeah, that's fair.
But going back to Freddy Krueger as a boogeyman, I mean, there's none more famous. I don't think there's none more popular, right? There is no single horror movie character, with the exception of maybe 2 others.
Name them.
Jason and Michael Myers.
Okay, yeah.
That you can go anywhere in the world, and they know exactly who it is, exactly what his weapon is, and exactly how he kills people.
Well, Michael Myers is on the list too. So I mean, Michael Myers. And I think in the first Michael Myers film, in the first Halloween, he wasn't listed as Michael Myers. He was just listed as the shape. Yeah.
So talking about Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So Willie says, I believe you're about
I'm watching.
Hey, Willie.
Touche, friend.
So silly. So Wes Craven's New Nightmare came out in 1994. I absolutely love this movie. So Wes Craven actually said that this kind of goes back to where Freddy is much more menacing and much more dark, which is what I had read is what he had originally intended. So this is the favorite of mine of the franchise, just because you have the actual actors playing themselves. And
this is the one where the dog pisses and opens up the ground, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, she said this was a good movie.
Well, that was a Freddy Krueger movie. That was in a Freddy Krueger movie.
It was. That was in part 6.
Oh, okay.
That was.
I thought that was the funniest scene in the world.
Is that Freddy's dead?
The one after.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that's when they kill him in the junkyard, and the dog pisses on an old car tire, I think it is, and opens a portal in the junkyard, and Freddy comes back. I know too much about this shit. Keep going, Jen. I'm making myself sound.
My bad.
You're fine.
Sorry, it was just that one scene I could remember.
It's the best scene in the movie.
So this is where Wes Craven actually tells well, we know her as Nancy, but it's actually Heather. Tells her that he actually has precog dreams, and part of the reason why he made these movies was to keep an ancient supernatural entity contained. So when the movies ended, it was able to be released. So in the movie, the entity focused on Heather, believing that if he killed her or it killed her, then he can actually gain access to the real world. I don't remember a movie actually doing this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I couldn't really think of any off the top of my head when I was reading this that did this. And it was crazy. It brought a new level of realism to me that, you're actually seeing Heather there and supposedly like her real son and her real husband, and this shit's happening and it's real stuff. And it's like, holy crap, that's crazy. And the Freddy, or the evil supernatural entity that actually comes around, is dark. It's very evil. I don't even think he looks the same. It's a very I think the actual tone of the and actually the look of the movie is even darker than like the other ones. There's no more slapstick. There's no more funny shit. Like, this is like, to me, I feel like, if you took like an extract of Freddy and like dropped it, that would be this movie. For me anyway. Like, I loved it. Black. Freddy's New Nightmare. What do you think?
You know what? In the line of them, I think the original's my favorite, but this one's a really close second.
Yeah, same.
It's a really close second. So for me, nothing will beat the original, though.
Nothing.
I agree. Chris.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. This is bounces back and forth on 2 and 3 for me in the franchise. But yeah, I think this was Wes Craven's testing ground for Scream. As weird as that sounds, right?
No, yeah.
I think this was his chance to build a movie not that included standard slasher tropes.
Yeah.
But that was built around them, right? And it stuck to that narrative pretty close, right? If you go back and watch it, it's a traditional slasher movie, just with a different coat of paint on it. And then he moves on to Scream and does a complete body restoration, right? To put it in really ridiculous, vague car terms. So I think this led to far greater things than what it was on its own.
Right.
That being said, I think this is probably the scariest Freddy Krueger has ever been, to include the first film.
I agree.
And keep in mind, I was only 2 when Nightmare on Elm Street first came out. So it's not like I saw it in theaters, right?
No,
but by the time I got around to it, there were things that stuck out to me that just didn't look right. Right? The long arms, right? You could tell that shit was
that was horrible.
Yeah.
Right? So when New Nightmare came around, I think I got to see what, for my generation, was the purest form of Freddy that we had ever seen. Right? No burn scars, just demon deformity. No glove, just really long nails. Right? Like that was Freddy Krueger the way Wes Craven pictured him originally. And then New Line did what New Line does with all of their horror franchises. And did what they did, right? They ran it into the ground, made as much money as they could off of it, and then trashed it until they could do a versus movie.
Dude, we're on Scream 7.
The last 2 Scream movies, that's a whole different episode, but the last 2 Scream movies were outstanding.
I gotta agree with you there.
If they didn't piss off the cast,
I'm not complaining, dude.
Trilogy, but
and more nerd news coming in. Scream 7, they're bringing back a bunch of the original OG cast that aren't dead in the movie verse.
So Courtney Cox, they should have killed her ass off in 5. That would have given Dewey a reason to be pissed off in 6. But
Neither here nor there. We can't go back and fix it.
I am excited to get another.
But we can hope for the best in 7.
Yep. I am excited for another trailer. But yeah, New Nightmare was solid.
Yeah.
I think the only movie to try to do something similar, but to do it in a twisted way, was Seed of Chucky.
Ooh, yeah.
That was the first meta film where you actually had Jennifer Tilly playing herself, but they buried it in the narrative so deep that you might not pick up on it, right? So you had Tiffany follow me down this rabbit hole. You had Tiffany, the wife, played by Jennifer Tilly, attracted to the actress that plays Tiffany in the movie, which is Jennifer Tilly, wanting to possess Jennifer Tilly's body to get out of the doll, which is named Tiffany, that's played by you following?
Yep,
I do.
Following.
It's too much. Yeah. It's too much. But I think that's, as far as movies go, I think that's the closest one to kind of start to get into New Nightmare territory. Yeah. But New Nightmare took it serious, and I mean, Chucky's never taken anything serious. So
no, thank God for it.
Right.
Jeff, you got anything else on Wes Craven's New Nightmare?
No, I really enjoyed this one tremendously. From it, the original glove being on the set to all those little small details like that went into that.
Right.
That shit was amazing.
I agree. All right. Next on my list, I'm pretty sure it's on Jeff's Halloween. Gotta talk about Michael Myers.
Wait for it. It's on the list.
Starting to sound like Chris Jericho over there.
That's the point. Thank you for Rick. Chris, thank you.
So you got Halloween 1978 starring Jamie Lee Curtis. You also have Tony Moran playing The Shape, as you guys mentioned earlier. So here's my thing about Halloween. You don't catch it the first time. You don't always catch it the second time. Sometimes you have to watch it 3 or 4 times to catch all the scenes that Michael is hiding in. You don't always see them. Some are more obvious than others. And then there's some where it's like you read it and somebody's like, hey, that's, Michael's in that. No, he's not. And then you go back, oh, fuck, he is. He's right there. Damn. Yeah.
Like a 1970s Mike Flanagan movie.
Yeah. And I feel like it brings like this eerie kind of feel to the movie and the character. For me, the other thing I find that was really eerie about Michael is that when he would kill somebody, sometimes he would kind of tilt his head and kind of look at them as they died. That gave me fucking chills. I'm just like, why is he doing that? Oh
and
my
the
God.
fact that it's just a man at the time under the mask, or a man child, I should say, because in his head he's still that little boy. So that makes it even scarier.
Right. And before I kind of talk about some of the theories that kind of go on, and they call it the Thorn trilogy. I know. I'm gonna touch on it. I'm not gonna spend forever on it. I see that you're familiar with it, Chris.
It's all right. We can talk about it. I ain't gonna be happy about it, but we can talk about it.
Yeah, I'll touch on it a little bit. But Jeff, what's your take on Michael Myers?
So I'm a huge fan of this entire franchise, and I know a lot of people are gonna hate that I'm about to say this. I really enjoyed the Rob Zombie prequel.
Yeah.
Like, I loved it. Like,
okay.
We needed that. Like, I needed that to understand really what Michael Myers really was. And I know a lot of people absolutely hate this fucking franchise that Rob Zombie did. But to me, he added something to it versus, like, muddying the waters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking Season of the Witch here, which has its place.
Whoa.
I said it has its place.
Listen, calm down. I
You
don't know why you're
had
getting all
the first
defensive.
half.
I'm not getting defensive.
I'm just
Yeah,
worried.
I'm just saying it's not the fucking best movie out there in the franchise.
I'm
Like
hurt.
it barely fit.
I'm hurt.
It barely fit.
So since you jumped to Rob Zombie, I feel like I need to address this.
Go right ahead.
I literally named this thing after Rob Zombie's "I'm Your Boogeyman."
So here's what I think about the Rob Zombie. Yeah,
Thank you, Willie, for picking up on that.
So here's my take on Rob Zombies. I didn't hate it. Okay. My thing is that you see Rob Zombie's movies and you see Michael's progression. You see him as a little kid, why he became like that, and then you see him becoming mute in the psychiatric ward and kind of his descent into being a serial killer.
Yep.
For me, it took away from Michael Myers because you just made him a serial killer at this point. You took away the boogeyman aspect. To me, he's not a boogeyman anymore.
Yep.
He's not as scary. He's just a dude walking around with a knife. I'm not knocking you guys. I'm just giving my perspective. I said,
too.
I didn't hate it. I'm just saying he did a good job, but you kind of took away the boogeyman aspect, in my opinion. I feel like you should have kept that supernatural part of it because all throughout the movie
added to the supernatural part that we got later. But that's just me.
To me, it didn't.
I disagree there. I think.
We can all disagree to agree, or agree to disagree is what I mean.
To me,
I said that backwards. My bad.
The less you know about your bad guy, your boogeyman, the less you know, the more scary they are.
Yep.
You don't always know their
That makes
origins.
sense
That's
too,
why the less you know, the more scary they are. Where they come from, I don't know.
Yeah.
Why are they doing this? I don't know.
Maybe because I'm a Rob Zombie fanboy when it comes to his movies.
I'm not.
Except for his monsters. He should have never done the monsters.
Yeah. I have zero problems with Rob Zombie. His take on Halloween, I didn't hate it, but to me, it's not. To me, he made him a serial killer.
So here would be my counterpoint. And I don't disagree with you, right?
Okay.
I completely agree that Rob Zombie took away the force of nature feeling that you get from Michael Myers in the first film. You don't know why he's there. You don't know why he's killing the people he's killing. There's no explanation in the first film whatsoever. You don't get that until the second film, right?
Yeah.
I would say that Rob Zombie did in 2 hours what the original franchise took
3 movies.
6 movies to explain. Because it's not until Halloween H2O that you find out all the same information.
There it is.
Right?
Why?
So here's
H2O had to get
I
talked
love
about.
Halloween H2O. I think it's a great movie. Right?
Agreed.
So the problem that you have is that Halloween became a franchise at all.
Yes.
Fact.
In that
is a fact.
Big fact.
In that, and this is where me and Jeff are going to butt heads, right? In that, Halloween 2, 4, and on were all Michael Myers. Right? When Halloween was first constructed, when they first designed this franchise, right? When they came back and said, hey, we want you to do a different movie. He didn't want to go back to Michael Myers. He wanted to tell an anthology series wrapped around the holiday, right?
Yeah.
So if we take the director's original vision of what Halloween should be, right now, there would be 2 movies. There would be Halloween 1, and there would be Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which by itself, if you remove the Halloween title,
Is it? Yeah, no.
is an amazing film.
No.
Right?
I will not argue that.
So all Rob Zombie
But it's the fact they put that Halloween in front of it that kills it.
Yep. All Rob Zombie did was compress that down to a single movie.
I'm gonna agree with Chris on this one. I'm gonna agree because for me, this franchise it goes in a lot of different directions. And for me personally, I took my time with this whole series to the point where, like, by the time I got to H2O, it was like, what the what's going on?
Like,
who is, like, I know he's a serial killer now, but I thought he was on the realm of Jason. You know what I mean? Like, he's unstoppable.
Yeah.
He's only going to come back. He's supernatural. You're telling me he's human with the problem. Like, it kind of took it away from me. You know what I mean?
He's
and
cursed.
Then, right.
There's a really cool diagram out there floating around that shows you the different breakdown in the storylines and how to actually watch it. Yeah, 5 different timelines. Yeah.
So, Black, did you have anything else? I wanted to bring up so there's the 3 installments called the Thorn trilogy within the Michael Myers movies. So it's Halloween 4, 5, and 6. Where it kind of describes how Michael is actually the suffering from a curse. So I guess there is a cult called the Thorn Cult, I think, that is in Haddonfield, and they select a child that will be basically possessed by this demon or dark entity named Thorn, and in order to make sure they have like less sickness, like more crops, like everything be fertile. I believe a child will be possessed, and basically, I think their job is to kind of kill off their whole family line. Michael did not achieve this because Laurie lived. And I guess it takes about 3 movies to kind of like talk about that. And he actually has like I can't remember which movie it was, but you actually see like runes that are on his arms and hands. They look like Nordic runes. I actually didn't know about this. I was like, oh, really? I didn't even know about that. Oh,
I didn't either. This is the first time hearing of it.
Yeah, they but if you look up Halloween Thorn trilogy, it talks about it a little bit. I can get behind that a little bit more. I never watched those movies, but I think it kind of comes. Oh, Eric just said it. It kind of comes back to he is the embodiment of evil. And that's what that Thorn entity is, like a demonic sort of god, if you will, demonic entity, and you're kind of paying homage to it, but with these sacrifices and everything. Again, I'm a little biased because I like more like supernatural aspects of horror movies. So if anybody watched that, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna check it out. Now I got to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about that?
So I thought it was a neat concept.
That's
I think it was a way for them to. I thought it was a way for them to try to get back to that original. How in the hell did he get back up at the end of that movie?
He can't die. Yeah.
And that's the trick. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to say 4 timelines, not counting Rob Zombie, that have split off following the first Halloween film, right? And all of them have essentially tried to fix what they had screwed up in their first 2 films. To try to turn him back into that force of nature, which is really what he is, right? He's just a force of nature.
That's what I feel like he is. Yeah, for sure.
And I think the Curse of Thorn, as much as this is probably going to piss off the people that loved the, was it Blumhouse that did the last trilogy?
Blumhouse, yeah.
Halloween Ends, Halloween Kills, and Halloween fucking we're done for another 15 years.
Yes, I didn't watch it, so.
You like those?
I didn't watch them. No, I didn't watch them.
Oh, I was talking to Jen. We'll argue about that later, Jen.
No problem.
I watched them, and Halloween Kills, I absolutely hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that.
That was the first one of the trilogy, right?
That was the last one.
See, I thought that was Halloween Ends.
Was it? Oh, yeah, you're right. Halloween Ends. I watched
one of them was awesome, and the rest of them I was like, you're not even close to where you started.
Let me see. So it's Halloween Kills. Halloween. Wait, no. There's Halloween 2018.
Yes.
And there's Halloween Kills 2021, and then 2023 is Halloween Ends.
Yes. So the first 2 were good. The third one was garbage. We can save that for a later episode.
Terrible.
Okay, I can get.
That's the one I was thinking about.
Yeah.
So the Thorn trilogy I thought was neat as hell because they took what essentially was an old, commonly known.
Is that like a separate movie thing?
It's not. So it's actually Halloween 5, 6, and 7, if I remember.
Okay.
Right. It starts with the Curse of Michael Myers, and it actually has Dr. Loomis introduce the Curse of Thorn, right?
Okay.
So the story arc is the leader of the Curse of Thorn identifies Michael Myers as someone who needs to kill his entire family as a blood sacrifice to ensure the success of everyone else.
Right.
Right. So super cliched, very Children of the Corn-ish.
Yeah.
Right.
But with
right.
Michael Myers, right? So instead of Jacob, you've got Michael Myers.
I had to write it down because I don't want to forget later.
It's really not a bad movie, but you just go 1, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, 1, 5,
Ignore
6, 7.
2, 3, and 4. And it's all based around Sam Hain or Sam Hine or however. I'm not
Samhain.
Yeah, there you go. I'm from Georgia, man. Dialect and math are just, they don't fucking happen.
We don't do those where we come from.
We don't do that shit. English don't do good here.
I'm taking I got you.
But they're solid movies by themselves, right? The problem with these is always when you try to tie them into the overarching Halloween thing. Because no one, with the exception of John Carpenter, and to an extent, Rob Zombie, but again, different episode, have been able to really capture who Michael Myers is.
The essence of
But this one, I think, has done the best job of trying to wrap that up into a nice, neat little package for the monies.
Yeah. Black.
No, I was thinking while you guys were saying that, that makes sense. If you're breaking up the timeline and that's part of that timeline, then those movies make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to revisit this whole series, except for that last movie took me out of it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fuck with those. I'm gonna go watch it the way he just said though.
So
yeah, me too.
I've got a graphic, and I'll see if I can find it.
I think I have it too, saved somewhere. I'm pretty sure I do.
I got charts.
It's all 5 timelines. It's really cool.
And it breaks it down from 1 to 2 and where they split and everything. And so it basically tells you the 5 ways to watch the Halloween series where it fucking makes sense.
Kind of jive,
yeah.
Okay.
And they're drastically different stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and if it's the graphic that I have, it tells you what each storyline revolves around too. Yep. Like you start here, you go over here, and that will cover, this, and then this one will cover this.
Yep.
So Eric Johnson,
I'll have to try to track it down.
So Eric says, please share it.
Please,
if you guys can. So maybe we can share it to one of our pages. That way people can kind of get behind that. So all in all, John Carpenter, one of the awesome masters of horror, did not disappoint with this franchise, at least from the boot, in my opinion. In my opinion, one of the greatest Boogeyman, definitely the top 3. Absolutely adore Michael and terrifying Michael Myers. So Jeff, who else you got on your list?
Okay, you want me to do a breakdown of the rest of my list?
Yeah, because that was basically the only other. I only had one other movie, but it was kind of sketch on whether I wanted to add it. So it's called Lights Out.
Never heard of it. What's the monster in it?
So the monster is, well, yeah. The monster is more of a ghost.
Okay.
The monster is more of.
Maybe.
Go ahead, Chris.
So I am of the mind.
Go ahead.
Listen, I can talk for hours. Anybody knows me knows that shit.
We know from the last episode.
You go ahead. You go ahead, bro.
I'm of the mindset that regardless of the form it takes, trauma itself is a boogeyman. So if your trauma shows up as a ghost, if it shows up as a vampire, if it shows up as a werewolf, or an STD, quote, it follows, it's a boogeyman. And therefore, right? Your definition at the start of the show was what? It's normally masculine or androgynous, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is known by every culture worldwide, regardless of what we call it.
Into good behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma is the one thing that, regardless of culture, we all know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I don't care what it shows up as. If it's traumatic to the main character, It can appear out of nowhere, cause physical harm or distress, or protect, right? If we want to use that part of the definition. Then it's a damn boogeyman. So Diana from Lights Out absolutely counts. And she was fucking terrifying. So
I'm going to have to check it out. It's making the list.
So Willie says Lights Out was phenomenal. So, you know, when I remember this movie was coming out, and I want to give a huge shout out to Teresa Palmer. She is the main character in this movie. Absolutely amazing actress. I absolutely adore her. She's definitely drawn to the supernatural and horror. If you guys have never watched Discovery of Witches, just a side note, it's a great book and great series that she's in.
I have read it.
I've read, yeah. She's amazing. Yeah, she as Eric says, she always chooses really good roles. So it was kind of like an autopilot thing for me. Like, oh, Teresa Palmer's in it, girl. Let's check it out. What are we doing? What'd you pick? What you like the script? Okay, me too. I'm watching it. So I'm watching this movie, and I kid you not, I was kind of afraid to turn the lights out for a little bit, as Willie pointed out. Like the last legit move, like this movie, like actually, like didn't. Like it had him shook, it had me shook. I didn't want to turn the lights out. Like I was scared. Again, they kind of portrayed it as a ghost, but as you so eloquently put, Chris, it's a boogeyman. It fits the criteria. I mean, it's kind of like what your trauma produced, and that's what happened.
The list that I have and the ones that were missing on the list will make sense too if we look at it that way.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I kind of chose Boogeyman, because I wasn't really sure how else to kind of. It does. I don't know how else to describe Freddy, or Jason, or Michael, or a lot of other movies. As in, to me, they're just Boogeyman. They're Boogeyman. They're things that you kind of conjured from your fears, your nightmares, and that's just, to me, utterly terrifying.
So here's the rest of my list that. And these were kind of random, thrown together. Sure. I don't want to say last minute because I did this at lunchtime. So a new one for me is the Smile Entity.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
It's a reach. I've kind of looked at that as more of a demon, but that's me. Art the Clown, which I think is also more of a possession / demon. Mr. Crockett, if you have not watched that on Hulu Screams. It falls within, I think it might be a Goosebumps universe type of deal.
Is Mr. Crockett the name of it, Jeff?
I don't think so. He's the main villain in it.
Let me look it up.
And then the Babadook, I think we talked about that one. The Tall Man.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Eric Boogle.
Eric pointed out.
I think that's how you pronounce it. Boogle. Here's a really good one for you. That I got two more. Krampus.
All right.
Yeah. And finally, well, no, I don't want to say finally because I'm saving one for the very last minute.
So you could actually look at Santa as being a boogeyman as well, because Santa would be like the protector of children.
Yes.
And then you can look at Krampus as the punisher.
Yes. Love it.
Because if you actually watch the movie Krampus, he punishes that whole family. And
whoops they asses.
I absolutely love this movie. And it really, really is. I mean, just the way that I think it's German. Is that right? I think it's German.
It's German.
It is, yeah.
And the story and origin of where Krampus comes from, I like it because instead of you being on Santa's naughty list, Santa doesn't have a naughty list. He has Krampus. Or him and Krampus are homies, and he's like, "Hey, Krampus, you need to go check out Johnny. Like he's being a little shit."
This one, I don't know if y'all ready for it yet, but this movie scared the fucking shit out of me when I was a kid. Pardon my French, but it scared the living shit out of me.
Okay. The Notebook.
That's terrible. That's terrible, but it didn't scare me as bad as the Candyman did.
Oh, Helen, be my victim.
Tony Todd scares the shit out of me to this day.
I liked the remake. That
I did too.
Me too.
Was amazing. Who is that dude?
With the newest effects and everything they have,
scared
the shit out of me. Still,
I loved it. I wish there was more.
Here's a fun fact. Here's a fun fact about the original Candyman.
Yeah.
The bees were real.
Yeah.
Yes, I read that.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Crazy shit.
Oh my gosh.
So they did an episode of Eli Roth did an episode of Masters of Horror, I think.
Okay.
I think it was, where they covered Candyman, and he had Todd on there talking about that role, going through all that.
Yeah.
You know, he was a stage trained Broadway actor. Going
Tony Todd.
That's why
Okay.
he got that presence and that, like, no other slasher dresses or carries himself as classy as Candyman does. And I mean, frankly, I mean, shit, he was the first black slasher icon, right?
Yes.
There wasn't one before.
I can't recall one. No.
Outside of the 70s exploitation stuff.
Not even that, because this role you had to take him serious.
Oh, for damn sure.
Yeah.
Like, he scared the shit out of me.
Most
Just
definitely.
that voice and that gravitas, like, holy shit, this guy means business.
Final Destination had Tony Todd as well, right?
Yeah, as Death.
Yeah.
Well, and he kind of changed that tone of that movie too. Like, especially the first Final Destination for me. Like, I remember, you know, you got Devin Sawa in there, and you're like, oh shit, this shit's going down. It's crazy. And then you see Tony Todd, and you're like,
oh shit.
You knew it was getting serious if Tony Todd shows up with that voice, dude.
Totally
People are
changed
about
it.
to die.
And what I loved about his scene in Final Destination, Jen,
What's that?
the hook hanging off the edge of the basket.
I know.
That was the
All that
shout out to
shit,
the
I
Candyman. That was
I
the shout out to the
love
Candyman.
that.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
And you know, to me, like, Tony and Todd could show up in like any horror movie and it'll change it for me. Like,
Yep.
it'll immediately
Absolutely.
make me like, maybe we should turn on a light. Just like
Yep.
one. Just like, can we
Yeah.
light a candle? Like anything. Burn some sage. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
Like,
that
Yeah.
voice.
you know.
One thing's
Get a
for damn
priest.
sure. You're not saying the name Candyman 3 times.
No.
To this
Ever.
fucking day. To this fucking day. I will
Ever.
not.
You'll
Nope.
get
And
the
if I
clue
hear
and then
you
you'll
thinking about
contemplate
it,
on
I hear you thinking about it, you getting the belt. I don't care who you are. But
Um,
my last one though,
What's that?
Candyman or Pale Man, Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh.
I don't want to talk
Yeah.
about that shit. Okay.
Oh.
That shit
That
give me
movie is-
nightmares.
That's a
That
great
movie is terrible.
Love
So-
the movie. Pale Man scares the fucking shit out of me.
That whole movie
That movie's fucked up, dude.
was
It's great.
crazy.
The first
Black
time I
Sabbath.
saw that movie, I was like, oh my god.
Right? Because you go into it
Grab
thinking,
your
oh,
pearls.
this is going to be like a kid's Goonies
Yeah.
type. Oh my God, why is his eyes in his hands?
Yeah.
What is this?
Turn the
And you see
fucking lights
Guillermo
on,
del Toro, and you're
please.
All right.
Turn the lights on.
And
I
you
cannot
know,
watch this in the dark.
and Guillermo del Toro has
Love that dude.
such amazing creatures in all of his movies.
Mhm.
I remember when they did I'm getting off track a little bit, but when they
never off
did
track.
right, when they did Hellboy 2 and the Golden Army, and he
Oh,
had the
yes.
Angel of Death, it's almost like his signature. He's got these very eerie creatures in his movies, and they just like send a shiver up my spine.
But they're beautiful.
And
That's
I
They
love
are.
them. Yes. Like,
Even that in his
it-
anthology series
Yeah.
last year on Hulu.
The Cabinet
Or-
of Curiosities.
Yes, Guillermo
Yeah.
del Toro's
So
Cabinet
good.
of Curiosities. So
Love
fucking
those.
good.
So
So
good.
good.
The fact that he chose 2 H.P. Lovecraft adaptations that he did
And he nailed them.
that series. Oh,
And
Can
it
we just
shows-
reflect real quick? Last
Yeah.
year's horror stuff blew this year's shit out of the water.
Amazing.
Agreed.
Last year was like one of the freakiest fucking years ever.
it was good.
We've
Yeah.
get some good horror movie years. Yeah, definitely. Every now and then. There was something Eric said that actually he was spot on. So if you kind of look at the
This one?
definition of so it came to America as the Grudge, but in
Yep.
Japan it was called Ju-on. That is another one I think is great. And there's actually a comic strip of the Grudge.
Really?
Yeah, it's Samara, right? Is the little
Mhm.
girl.
Mhm.
There's actually a comic strip. I'm getting a little off topic again, but there's a comic strip that has Samara on there. And
The
it's
Grudge
actually
or the
kind of
Ring?
Yeah, Samara's
Is it The Ring? Okay, it's
The
The Ring.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's kind of along the same vein too.
They're all within the same.
similar.
They're both on the same boat.
So actually, the entity you could actually say is fueled by maybe somebody's death.
Mm-hmm.
Was traumatic.
Their own death. It was their own death.
Yeah, their own death.
Yeah,
Even going after people that wrong them, or even share like the same emotion or what have you. The Grudge is definitely another movie. I tell you what, man, that is another intro to a movie. Just seeing that little girl is terrifying.
Yes. No, get me the fuck out of here.
The Grudge is the movie that made me realize that I'm a dog person. Like, hands down.
Toby, you're a good boy.
I know. Oh wait, I'm getting the Grudge and The Ring mixed
I got
up.
multiple cats and a dog, so
Lord help me.
Yeah.
Just keep that damn cat away from me.
He's in the tower. He's cool.
Yeah.
He's cool.
Get out of here.
Oh no, they're fucking evil as hell.
That was The Ring I was talking about. Apologies, but I loved Sarah Michelle Gellar in The Grudge. I like how and this was actually something I had talked to I watched this movie with Eric's mom, and if you guys don't know, Eric's mom is Japanese, and we were watching it with her. Now Eric's mom, I tell you what, man, this woman can sit here and watch us play like these horror video games and watch these horror movies, and she'll be like, that's true. Like, we actually think this, like going to like a house where someone was like traumatically like murdered and there's like bad energy and vibes and stuff there. She's like, oh yeah, people I'm like, you're not helping, Mom. I'm like, you're making this worse.
You're
like,
making this way too.
I'm not taking her to a the carriage rides they do in the haunted part of New Orleans around the graveyards and stuff.
Just don't take her to New Orleans.
Yeah, don't take her there.
Yeah,
she's gonna be the most stable person there. I've never seen that woman scared. Yeah, she can watch anything. Like she remember she watched The Grudge and she watched The Ring with us. She's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, Mom, I'm like, oh my God. Movie's fucking terrifying. I'm like, her hair is coming out of the ceiling. I guess
this movie is rooted in realism. I'm
not
staying in that part of Japan.
No, I don't want to. I know. Oh, Eric's laughing. That's true. Jeff, did you have any other movies you want to talk about?
I think we've hammered them all out on my end of the story. Actually, I want to honorable mention WWE, the Boogeyman.
Oh,
we're not discussing the Boogeyman without mentioning the Boogeyman.
We're gonna talk about our wrestlers. Go ahead.
We're gonna throw Papa Shango into the mix as well.
Fuck it, why not?
I got one for both of y'all.
Go ahead.
Bray Wyatt.
Oh
yeah.
And
follow the buzzard,
since we're on this topic of protection, Bray Wyatt was a protection gimmick.
He was
for a real life guy because he had dealt with a lot of rejection and his experiences being a character that he didn't want to be. Kind of forced his hand at what the Fiend was. So him going through his career and being rejected in all of his ideas, he created that Fiend character as a protection gimmick. Under the mask, he could be who he truly wanted to be. So the ultimate boogeyman. And I'll give you one. I'll give you a good boogeyman right now. Cody Rhodes is a great boogeyman.
No boogeyman.
Yes, I know where you're going with this, and I fucking love the idea. I do. I really love this idea.
Cody Rhodes is the boogeyman.
I love the idea. It's a great theory, and I love it.
If you look at what Roman Reigns was, which he's also,
I know, and he's coming back as a face.
Yes. But Cody Rhodes is not a good guy.
He's a greedy little shit.
He's the bad guy. Cody Rhodes is the bad guy.
He's the son of a plumber son.
Yep, to be the good guy. He is the boogeyman.
Anybody got anything else they want to mention? Any characters we didn't talk about? Any movies we didn't talk about? It's our last show.
I do.
Go ahead. I knew you did. What is
first
it?
off,
Here
for
we
the
go.
parents out there, we got Mr. Boogedy and Bride of Boogedy. These are movies that I watched when I was 7 or 8 years old on The Wonderful World of Disney on Sunday nights. And I absolutely loved them. It's about a statue that comes to life, scares the crap out of a family.
Yeah.
So if you got kids, check out Mr. Boogedy. It's on Disney Plus. I've already checked. I may have watched it 3, 4, 7 times in the last month or so.
Okay.
And I'm gonna steal a little bit of Willie's thunder, I think, this evening, since he couldn't make it, and list off a couple of animes from the horror genre.
Okay.
But one in particular that deals with the boogeyman subject. The first one is going to be Hellsing.
Yeah.
Certainly not for the kids.
No.
Would not recommend it, especially the updated version of it. I want to say there's an essay in episode 4 or 5 that's pretty intense.
It's about mid-season.
Yeah, so be careful with that one. The other one is actually going to be Yami. Oh crap! It's a series. So I'll give you the premise and I'll give you the title because I from Georgia and I can't pronounce Japanese names. So it's essentially the wraparound is that a man in yellow that doesn't own a monkey named George shows up every night, and basically tells people ghost stories. And the name of the series is actually Theater of Darkness, Yami Shibai. And it's on Crunchyroll. The animation style is something that is extremely unique compared to anything I've seen in the anime realm. It's very much a more like an animated comic strip than it is a true anime. But the art style is absolutely beautiful. The stories are amazingly good. Each episode is between like 4 and 8 minutes long, and there's like 13 to 14 of them. So they're a quick watch, but man, are they good. Outside of that, when it comes to Boogeymen, I really think we've covered the vast majority of the characters that I think I know and love. The one thing that I would say, not to steal any thunder from anybody,
no, not at all,
or for the show at all, but I would like to say rest in peace to Terry Garr, who passed away today at the age of 79. For any horror fans, you probably know her from Young Frankenstein.
Yep.
For fans of comedies, you know her from Mr. Mom. She's been around for a long time. Great actress, done some amazing things. So, best wishes to her and her family. So,
thank you, Chris.
And I'll come up with a funny joke so we don't end this on a depressing note.
We won't.
We're not going to, because we're ready to roll into final shots and thoughts. Unless Jen's got something else.
I do. I'm trying. So since Chris kind of touched on the vein of maybe some things that your kids can watch, there was an anime that Eric and I watched. It's called Mushishi. It is a great anime. Yep. I was asking Eric what you were talking. I was like, "What's the name of the anime?" So it's called Mushishi. If you guys have ever watched it, it is. So every story is different, and it has like a different spirit that the basically the traveler kind of diagnosed, and he kind of figures out like how to kind of deal with the spirit. Some of the tones are a little bit more mature than others. Definitely I would recommend it to a grown-up. I love it. I wish they made more. Adore it. Other things that my family and I watch for Halloween is definitely Hocus Pocus.
Definitely not part 2.
I like part 2. You shush it. You shush it. I wish they would have stuck with the book. Yeah.
I did see they're doing a TV series.
Yeah, I heard that they're
live action TV series. Yeah, they're bringing everybody back, and they're going to do a live action TV series.
Another
Gotta
thing
get that money at Disney.
Yeah, like they're hurting for it. Right. The other thing we always watch is Nightmare Before Christmas. So that's also with Christmas and Halloween.
Hey, the actor that played Oogie Boogie passed recently too.
Did he?
Yeah, the voice actor. Yeah, it fucking sucked, man. That was a.
I believe it. Sucks.
Yeah.
Black, do you have any like kind of Halloween traditions that you guys like to watch? You can recommend to people.
Well, you kind of took mine. Ours is so this year we're doing the Halloween series. We're gonna watch that.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
One of our traditions is Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
My daughter's a huge Tim Burton fan.
Yeah.
So she kind of got me into that. Another one that we end up watching during Halloween, I have no idea why. It's Coraline.
No, that's perfect.
Movie.
Perfect.
Yeah,
okay.
we end up watching that during Halloween.
Oh,
so.
Yeah.
I'm going to take away the final shots and thoughts real quick. Coraline's mom showed up on the Boogeyman list as well.
Really?
Yeah, in her other form, in the spider form, they considered her a Boogeyman in that. So now I'll put it back up.
I can see that.
I left her off the list because I was like, but now I'm like, you know what? I fucking love Coraline. Me and my daughter watched that one. Like that's Halloween night. That's our go-to. We'll watch Coraline.
I love it.
She'll watch it up there. I'll watch it down here, and we love it.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
With that though, Jen, what's going on with the Queens? Anything coming up?
Well, I'm gonna play my transition really quick. Final shots and thoughts.
All right. But now, final shots and thoughts. Jen, what you got?
Well, I will be releasing sometime this week. The last episode of our spooky season will be the zombies. And then hopefully I can get episode 34 of Fallen Star out. It's things are kind of progressing along. We are going to be gaming this weekend. I'm super excited. It's been a little bit since we've gamed, so it's gonna be fun. I can't wait. If you guys have never done a TTRPG, I highly recommend it. Get a book, learn how pick somebody to be the dungeon master, and have a fun time. It's free. The only thing that costs money is eventually just getting the dice and buying pizza. So,
and more books.
You haven't done it? You should do it. But that's all I got for the Queens.
Plug. It's upside down. My bad. Now shameless plug. This is how I got started, and I love it.
Wizards of the Coast needs more of our money.
They got a lot of mine because I sponsored a D&D club at my daughter's school, so I went a little overboard, I should say. Chris, anything coming up with you?
No, so just kind of kicking it around. Excited to see the zombies episode up. I hear there's an exciting new guest appearance there by some dude who thinks he knows what he's talking about. So interested to hear that.
I bet his name's Chris. I bet it is.
Yeah, it's like CJ or Lovebug or something. It's really
weird.
But he seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah, so he's a nice guy, and Lovebug sounds very fitting, I must say.
It does, yeah. Yeah, he's like a teddy bear stuffed with razor blades, I think is how I heard him described. So
I can see that. Nails on a chalkboard, maybe.
Yeah. Looks soft and cuddly, but if you hug him, he'll cut a bitch kind of thing.
So you guys may see Chris and I in future episodes talking about more horror stuff because, there's just so much to talk about. So
wait, does that make Chris a new queen?
Yes.
I love it.
I love it. Dude. Chef's kiss.
Black, what you got going on?
Well, I got my own personal boogeyman in here right now. My niece is in here, so
what up?
Hey.
I'll be myself.
But yeah, we have no gimmicks tomorrow. We're ending our spooky season talking about the scariest big men, and we are also doing crown jewel predictions tomorrow. So it's gonna be a fun time. So make sure you guys come in. See that.
The butcher, my man. The butcher better be number one.
She's winning.
I forgot.
By the way.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Jen.
I'm going to be on Pop Break tomorrow with Amanda. we're going to be talking about Agatha all along. I'm super excited. If you guys have not watched that show, I 1,000 times 10 infinity recommend it. Is 10 out of 10, 20 out of 20. It's amazing. I love Agatha all along.
5
Is
puffs.
it phase 2 MCU amazing? Because if not, I'm not watching it.
I would put it up there.
It's on
that level.
All right, I'll check it out.
Let's put it this way. It has no filler episodes.
No, and I just watched one of the best flashback like episodes I've ever seen in my life.
Sweet. I'll check it out.
Yeah,
like that flashback episode. I think it was episode 5. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit. But that brings me.
There's nudity.
Yes. But I wasn't going to bring that up. I'm saving that one. I'm saving it. But so USDN's got USDN short number 4 being filmed tomorrow. New comic book day for the 30th of October will be tomorrow.
Okay.
Agatha All Along for the finale will be next week. Next week, I think. And I'll have my cast of usual. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Finale is next week, right?
This week.
This week. So the finale episode will be next week.
Okay.
That's going to be a late night.
Yes, it will. Well, I don't do it on the same night. I do it like the day after or something.
I'll talk about me because now I have to binge Agatha.
Oh yeah, you definitely got to. Yes.
Otherwise, you won't regret it.
Yeah.
You won't regret it.
And then I may be on No Gimmicks tomorrow doing Crown Jewel predictions.
Spoiler: he will be.
The Rock is going to interfere.
You better not. Last time he hit me with their people's belt and it pissed me off.
Hulk Hogan is going to steal the title from Bret Hart after
had a concussion for a week. Had a concussion for a week the last time he did that. And then what else? What else do I got coming up? Yeah, but just be on the lookout. You never know when I'm going to drop a short.
You know, I watched your short.
In that in the plural form.
I really like them
because I drop them 2 a week sometimes.
I like them. I mean, you have a lot of comic insights, and I love that. It's great.
And it's mainly new comic book day releases, and then I'll do. Last week I did my.
It's your niche. I like it.
Halloween Havoc predictions, which was really fun.
Niche. It's a good.
You just never know.
It's very.
I'll do them on anything. I don't care.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is drop it in the comments, and if I like it, I'll run it.
Run with it.
Yep. But that's all I have. Anything else from anybody else before I close this show out?
Negative Ghost Rider.
Roger.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Always.
It's been great.
Always. Thanks for coming through, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
It's been fun.
So with that, everybody, thanks everybody for tuning in to my, I don't know what episode this is anymore because I don't keep up.
She's on.
Watch the USDN page for updates on when our next episode will be, which will be tomorrow, by the way. Special thank you goes out to Black and the DFPN podcast group for all the love. As always, we want your feedback, so please tell everybody that you enjoyed our show and share us with your friends and family because that way we grow. Please hit that like, subscribe, and share buttons, and stay tuned for more great shit. On behalf of myself, everybody here on this podcast panel tonight, the Council of Nerds, this shit is USDN approved.
We done won.